Hello and welcome to Good Boys Gone Bland, Season 3, Episode 2, Clifford's Really Big Movie. We are a podcast that navigates 10 movies of a similar actor or subject. But first, I'm Denali.
I am Ryan.
I'm Jace, and if I was a dog, I don't know what dog I would be.
Thanks, Jace.
That was no one asked but let's think about this.
So we're going here real early.
We're going here. Now we got to go here. I think I would be like a German Shepherd. They seem like they're kind of
really not be a German Shepherd.
I would be a German Shepherd, man. They're
Are you kidding me?
Denali'd be the fucking
a
Chihuahua.
Dog, like a police
I'd be a
working dog.
Denali'd be a dog, and he'd be like, "What's it doing?" It's in the backyard, looking at a wall, like.
German Shepherds. Okay, I wouldn't be working for the police, but they're very smart dogs that could be trained to do complex tasks.
Yeah, trying to get you to do anything is like pulling your own fingernails.
Okay. Well, what would I be then? Like one of those small nervous dogs?
Yeah, like a pug or
Honestly, I could
pug,
see
French bulldog.
That's not bad.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, because
okay.
you can teach. I've seen a lot of like French bulldogs ride skateboards, and I feel like
that's
in line
cool.
with what you're talking. But also they're like,
they're pretty chill.
Yeah, they're chill dogs, chill bros that could learn things, and they're kind of trendy. So maybe I'm happy with that.
And they scream.
Oh yeah, I'm a screamer. Okay, Ryan, what do you think you're gonna be?
I don't know. This question was sprung on me. I was not thinking about.
Well, Jay said he didn't know. There's no pressure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I had a Bernese Mountain Dog that I loved.
Oh, like huge. Yeah.
Yeah, really, really loved it. He was totally chill. He just sat around the house. Wasn't really mountain-y. So I think something in that direction. I like to do stuff outside.
Yeah.
I like the cold rather than the heat. So I think maybe a thick coat.
Burmese Mountain Dog.
Yeah.
Don't they lay down like huge dumps?
Yeah.
Use, like, a forklift
right there, baby.
Okay, Burmese. That's a pretty good pick.
Burmese,
Jason, now
I think not Burmese. I think a Burmese is more like a jungles.
Is it from Burma? Are they from Burma?
No, I think it's Bernese. I think it's like Bernice, not with an M.
Makes sense. I don't know why a jungle dog would be a huge coat.
Yeah.
That sucked. Okay, Jace, you've had some time to think about it. What do you think what dog you'd be?
Oh, I wasn't thinking about the question at all. I was thinking about the dogs that you guys would be.
Okay, well, let's do it. So let's say.
Okay.
So Jace is a troublemaker.
Yeah, he is. He's a bad boy. But not the bad boy of the podcast, but he is a bad boy.
Fair.
So is there a dog species that gets into like a lot of trash?
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a
boxer, maybe. I think Jace is the boxer.
Oh.
He's got a lot of energy. He's athletic. He's got short hair.
Yeah.
Is that
Boxer,
the dog with the
good.
long face, though? I don't want that one.
No, it's snub-nosed, but tall.
Yeah, Jace is like a whippet. You know those ones that weigh like 20 pounds, but they're like 4 feet tall? And they go at like 75 miles an hour.
Okay, a whippet. That's not a bad one for me either. But they're more nervousy, and they like to wear coats.
What's a whippet versus what's the difference between a whippet and a greyhound? I
think whippets are not as fast, obviously, and I think they're smaller.
Greyhounds are buses, so there is a big difference there too.
Okay. I like Great Danes too. They look similar to a whippet, but they're big, fat, and also like.
Yeah, similar to boxers in a way, but one thing about Great Danes,
they die at 8.
Very short-lived.
Yeah.
There is a Marmaduke live-action movie that there's a non-zero chance of us seeing this season.
It's true.
Well, and Matthew McConaughey is Hank the Cow Dog, and I tried to get you guys to watch it, and you didn't want to watch it.
Oh my God! So we have so now there's a chance we could see it because now we're in a dog season coming off our McConaughey.
I think it's a podcast live reading, like a reenacted podcast.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, before we get started today, guys, I want us to run through some of our decision-making skills. We need to get better at making decisions. We got to exercise that skill again. So I'm going to pull up the would you rather generator here, And
Oh,
we're gonna get better at this, at making split decisions that are intelligent
Okay.
and forward thinking.
No, I want to go reactionary. Boom,
You want to
gut
go reaction?
decision.
You want to? Okay, gut decision. You're gonna train that.
We
that
do need
muscle.
to like measure our baseline
Mhm.
and see
Okay.
like, are we actually bad, or was it just bad luck?
Right, because we use the clicker wheel, but one of us, I don't know who, did choose to put the Clifford thing on there.
Also, somebody read the name off, and the person that we're talking about who put it on the clicker wheel just kind of like does random things that pops into his brain. So
I think I did tell Jace to put it on there, and then Jace just did, and I didn't think he would. Let's go to the Would You Rather generator. Let's just run through a couple of these, so we can get better. We can get good at picking stuff. So, first, Would You Rather question: Would you rather have a lightsaber or have a helper monkey? Go.
have a lightsaber.
whoa, what? That's not even a question. Like, you can have a monkey. Like,
Wait, Jace,
right
did you
now.
say lightsaber
Yes.
Yeah,
or have a helper monkey?
yeah, but you can literally have one of those right now.
I
So,
could
like,
kill
that-
somebody who has a helper monkey with my lightsaber and take their helper monkey.
So you will need a
It's like-
helper monkey once you chop your limbs off with your own lightsaber.
That is true. I would pretty
already
much
have-
only use it pointed directly away from me like this. Ah! Ah!
Jace, I think you cracked this question right open. Because once you introduce the concept of murder to any of these questions, I think you could have both. That's very
Depends.
good. I think a helper monkey could be valuable in helping me steal a lightsaber from like a high-tech Elon Musk lab. Like he can climb into the vents.
Don't you think they think of that already?
Monkeys robbing high-tech labs?
Happens all the time.
One of these directions is easier to go than the other.
Having a lightsaber, killing a man with a monkey, or training a monkey to crack safes and climb into a top-secret facility.
It's like the Armageddon question. Is it easier to train astronauts or drillers?
Okay, that's pretty good. Ryan, are you also picking lightsaber?
Yes. This is nonsensical.
We know, though, Ryan, from that question that you just posed, that it is easier, in fact, to train drillers because the only astronaut on that team got space dementia and tried to kill them all.
He did. He did. So
Also, that was Steve Buscemi being like a space psychologist, and I don't think space dementia is a real thing. So I might.
no, we
you know,
googled it on the episode. It was definitely not. But okay, let's go to the next one. That was a good one. Lightsaber, and you can also see the results. I think 64% picked lightsaber on this one. So good choice, guys. This one's would you rather own a horse in the city or own a cat in the country?
Own a horse in the city.
What? No way.
Well, are you crazy?
What?
Cat in the country is obvious. Like one of those things that regularly happens for almost probably like half of all people that live in the country.
Okay.
Owning a horse in the city, you have to pay for stables and you have to go see
You gotta
it.
drive.
Or my horse lets people ride on it and I make money from it. And I'm an entrepreneur.
Oh, you're like one of those New York carriage guys who kind of like takes people around Central
That's
Park.
an entire lifestyle. Like you have to like.
Yeah. You gotta
Maybe
wear a
a
top
horse
hat.
person.
I chose my pick choicey chooser. And it's horse in the city.
I've done cat in the country, being from Alaska, and had a cat in the wilderness, and it was great seeing him goof around.
True. Yeah, Oreo did that.
Great. So okay, let's go to the next one here. I don't want to take up all our time, but I think we're on a good streak. Now, would you rather be a wizard or be the king of England?
Wizard.
Wizard.
One of these obviously sucks. Like there was just an Oprah special on how much it sucks to be part of the royal family.
And also, if you're a wizard, you could probably make yourself the king of England.
Okay, we're introducing murder again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what gets me is the king of England isn't a great job because Merlin probably could have just bodied King Arthur at any time.
It's like,
Like-
go ahead, kid.
But why didn't he?
Being the king sucks, dude. You gotta sign taxes and probably boring. He just wants to do wizard shit in his cave, and then King Arthur's got to I don't know what he's got to pull swords out of rocks. Okay, let's do one more. One more. Okay, and I think 81% said be a wizard. Are you shitting me? Like, why would you not want? Yeah, okay. Would you rather slam your hand in every door or fall down every flight of stairs?
Wow. Jesus fuck.
Certain point,
Slam your hand in every
Um,
door.
Yeah.
becomes better because like it's not going to kill you.
Yeah.
But like, let's say you're in some like large tower,
I can't go to
like
the
a
pyramid.
hotel.
Fall down every flight of stairs. Is that every flight of stairs in existence or every one you see?
Is it every door in existence?
Every door that has ever existed, you
Every
slam.
door
Or,
you pass through, or
So then I
every
would go in
set
and out
of
of
stairs.
windows.
Yeah. Because if you could modify your lifestyle to avoid things, I think it's easier to avoid maybe doors than stairs.
Well, not every building has stairs.
Yeah, they have
And you
elevators.
could use
and escalators.
elevators, and you could use ramps.
What would also be annoying is like, if you're in like a movie theater or if like a store has like a walk up with like 4 steps, like you're talking to your friends like, oh, hang on, guys, I've got to fall down these. And, you like tumble 4 stairs every fucking time.
Well, in an ADA compliant world,
Right.
this wouldn't
Ramps.
be nearly as big of a problem.
Yeah, like I would, if I had this curse, I would probably try to apply and be like, hey, I have a curse where I fall down every stairs. I need to have ramps like at least everywhere I go.
So this is an example of where our instinct was wrong when we really think about it.
So we were,
Because me and Jace both said doors.
right.
I'd
I was
rather
on board
slam
with
my
doors.
hand indoors.
I'm going with stairs.
Well, you could apply for maybe like an ADA thing with the doors thing and make all doors squishy when you slam your hand at them. Because you have to you have a mental disorder where you have to slam your hand as hard as you can in the door.
That would
curse.
require everybody making like a change that would only benefit you.
You're never going to get everything ADA in every house, though. So it kind of bars you from a lot of
Never going
places.
upstairs. Never going to second floors.
Yeah.
You want to go
Okay.
upstairs? Really?
I love escalators, and I pray to God they don't count
That
those
counts
as
as
stairs.
stairs. You're
That's
supposed to
infinite stairs.
You're supposed to walk down it. You're not supposed to stand on it. It's supposed
Thank
to
you,
accelerate
Jace.
you.
It's not a ride.
Or what about those flat escalators in airports? You're supposed to just stand on those.
Those are
and let
not
them move you, right?
stairs. And no.
So you stand so you don't have to walk.
That's a belt system. Yeah, that's not
Okay, I think we got this one cracked open, and let me click to see what the audience picked. So are we agree with fall down every flight of stairs as
No,
the
Jace
most preferable
disagrees.
option?
Wait, we can each pick our own, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I
Oh,
thought
wow.
we were all unanimous. Okay,
What?
so I'll pick door
I'm gonna pick hand.
and stairs. Okay, well, 52% said slam your hand in every door. That is a tight margin.
Bunch of
That's tight.
morons.
Barely won. Okay, well, I think we got a good we got a good sense of instinct now. Are you guys feeling pretty good after that
About what?
about your decision making ability?
Oh, yeah.
A solid.
So to be fair, I felt good about it before this. So
I made all my decisions as quickly as I did to put Clifford on the picker wheel. So yeah.
Yeah, so and before we begin our Clifford review here, we should probably just preface this by saying this review is not for kids. We dropped a couple F-bombs earlier, so maybe I should have said this earlier. So kids who typed Clifford into the podcast thing, please turn this podcast off. There's going to be a lot of cussing in it.
It will have the explicit tag.
Yeah, but they could think that E means like everyone, you know?
Okay.
So let's-
well, I'm
let's
not a
edit in
parent to every
something.
million children. So if the parents are allowing them to search podcasts that are explicit, then they're raising
true.
them wrong. And
yeah, we
that's
can
none of my
also
business.
just put a disclaimer saying, "Hey kids, this is Krabby the Clown."
I'll kill you if you listen to this episode.
Jesus Christ.
Let's explain why we're watching Clifford for those people who maybe are jumping in on this episode. For our season 3, We are inhabiting the doghouse of the movie mansion. Woof woof, doghouse time. We're watching 10 movies about dogs. Now, we picked Clifford on our Wheel of Chaos, which is kind of like a Wheel of Fortune thing. And it selected Clifford as the next movie for us to watch, which is why we're watching Clifford's Really Big Red Movie. Yeah, so we did do what we are doing a Clifford review, guys. And, let's give this movie, let's do this movie justice. Let's play this straight and give it the review it deserves.
You're making a lot of inflammatory comments before this review starts without even knowing my opinion on it. It sounds like you're planning on shitting on it for the next 45 minutes.
On anything, man.
It sounds like you're gonna take a big Clifford dookie all over this movie.
I mean, how do they fucking clean that?
Yeah, right. Wasn't that kind of implied? Like,
yeah, it was heavily implied.
Like,
He's
wink, wink.
Oh, guys, I've got something. Yeah, I've got something to say.
Okay, Jace, you got the synopsis this week, don't you?
I do.
Yeah. You want to just start us off so we can get into Clifford's Big Red Movie?
Sure. All right. This week we watched Clifford's Really Big Movie, 2004 production, our first animated movie of the podcast.
Oh, that's true. I didn't realize. Yeah.
Yeah. So Clifford is a really big dog. Really huge. Giant. Estimated to weigh 85 tons. 170,000 pounds. Half the size of a blue whale for those. And I have something to talk about later with that. But in this movie, we're introduced to Clifford early on, running around town, and his owner, Emily Elizabeth. Just really great. Clifford lives with his family in a doghouse that's probably bigger than my home itself. He's really got it going on. But they go to there's a circus visiting their island. And Clifford goes to the circus, and they see the Amazing Animals act. And in this act, the owner, or the tamer, trainer, friend of these this ne'er-do-well group of animals that features a cow, a ferret, and 2 dogs. They do this really cool stunt scene, and Clifford is like, "Oh, man, that looks like a lot of fun." And they get a poster from him. He gets a poster and says that you could compete in this talent show and you can win a lifetime supply of food. And Clifford, I believe it's after this, goes home, goes to sleep for the night with a poster, and he's like, "Oh, that's really cool." And the neighbor, undercover DEA agent, is investigating the father of the Howard family, Mr. Howard, and he says, "So how do you afford to feed that dog?" Because he sees Emily Elizabeth taking wheelbarrows out of food and he's dumping them in. And he's like, "Oh, I love it." He's like, "But how can you afford to feed that dog?"
Just remember the IRS, just trying to get him for tax fraud.
It's like, what are you doing, Mr. Howard, to be able to feed that dog? And unfortunately, Clifford only comes in on that later part of this conversation, and he hears kind of one-sided from the neighbor Horace Bleekman that, he's a trouble and that he's costing the family a lot of money. So he runs off in an emotional state because he knows that he's harming his family by being there, and he's eating too much, and he knows that if he wins the talent show, he could win free food for life. He runs off, and Mr. Howard says, "No, he's part of the family. I'd feed him no matter what." I will tell you guys later how much money he would feasibly have to spend to feed that dog every day for a year. We'll get into that. So Clifford goes off. He runs. He swims with his 2 companions, whose names I'm forgetting.
Cleo and T-Bone.
Cleo and
nice, Ryan. Nice.
He swims from the island to the mainland and attempts to catch up with the circus, and makes the land and realizes that nobody that's not from this island has ever seen a dog this big, and causes a Godzilla moment. Catches up with the circus, kind of gets into a bunch of hijinks, Acme-esque hijinks with the circus as they move towards competing in this talent show. They win it, and the lawful evil businessman that owns the Kibble Corporation makes the man who entered these animals into the talent competition signed a contract without reading it, which meant that he could steal Clifford for his daughter. We get into a kidnap scenario. The ferret was upset that Clifford joined the crew and was taking his starlight away from him, so he was okay with it to begin with. And he found out
A lot of
Clifford had a family.
lines,
There's a
yeah.
lot of intertwining plot lines. And then we get to the point where he realizes that the tamer, the circus man, knows that Clifford has a family, and he hatches a plot to get him back. And they go on a Mission Impossible style mission to rescue Clifford before calling Emily Elizabeth, having her come, and the young girl who stole Clifford away gives her back because she's actually a good person. There's a lot of shit in this movie. Clifford runs away, and then he gets found, and he competes in a talent show.
That was good shit, Jace. You fleshed that out better than I definitely could have. So well done. Let's crack into it, guys.
Does anybody have like an introductory thought? Because
Yeah.
I kind of have a topic I want to talk about.
When did Clifford get big, and
Yes.
did they remove his balls before or after he got
Yes,
large?
thank you, Jace. Okay. Because I don't know how they remove. I don't want to get gross, but like I don't know how they do it. His balls are probably as big as like a fucking truck, right?
Yeah,
Like, how big is
sedan.
Clifford?
Well, he's 85 tons.
Wow.
He's 25 feet tall.
That's
Big boy.
gigantic. And then so this is a city that's shaped like it's Bone Island, right? Like it's the island is shaped like a bone, right? And then
I missed that.
Yeah.
there was something that happened on this island to give dogs some kind of latent abilities, because Clifford's huge and super strong and hyper intelligent. He could fucking read. Okay, no one talks about that. All the other dogs have like a really strong like communication abilities. There's a Chihuahua that can lift a lot of weight, dude. I thought that was fake weights he was doing, like as like a press, and it dropped through the floor. It was hundreds of pounds, and that was never explained.
Okay, so those dogs are from the mainland.
Okay,
Clifford is a one-off.
Clifford grew.
In this universe, all dogs are intelligent and can speak to each other in English and can apparently read, because there's one point where, the ferret is actually, it's not a dog, but the ferret was reading the poster. So the only thing that's special about Clifford in this universe compared to other animals is his size. And that's what I wanted to talk about. Are there other animals in the Clifford universe that are also gigantic?
It is canonically known that Clifford only grew to the size that he did because of the love of Emily Elizabeth. So if you are able to output as much love per square meter as Emily Elizabeth, you could feasibly create a giant animal of any subtype.
Okay, so that is scary.
There's an implication there.
Imagine if the government got a hold of that knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
This is a dog.
I don't think the government could output any amount of love.
Well, right. What if they get this
love
girl?
Killing.
No, seriously. What if they figure this out and they want to use it for elephants, rhinos?
Those are already big.
Cheetahs, lions. What if there's a PG-13 Clifford movie where the government gets her and tries to like MK Ultra her into loving these animals a lot?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
She has a psychic ability where whenever she loves something, she causes like a cellular growth rate to happen to these things to where they get huge.
It's an X-Men. She's an X-Men.
Yeah, oh my god. This is one of our superheroes.
Dude,
oh my god. She makes rats giant because she's one of the deli dudes, and there are definitely rats in our deli.
Oh yeah, because it's in New York. They got tons of rats.
One of those things.
Okay, I did remember watching like a Kurzagasat, I don't know how to pronounce, like those YouTube videos where the smart British guy explains things with cartoons. And I saw like if you make a mouse like really large, as big as an elephant, they said because of the way the mouse disperses heat, it'll like explode or like it'll burn itself out just because it's designed to kind of keep heat in. So you have to think about that, like animals that could get big.
Right, and that's why
So she bombs people with rats that she
giant
turns huge
spiders,
with her love.
well, like giant spiders and stuff, they would actually like suffocate, right? Because
Right.
they get air through their joints, and the volume of air that you need to breathe, like I don't know, cubes or whatever, for every time you literally get twice as big, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. We have to pick an animal that maybe can be weaponized and doesn't necessarily have to be alive. Like, let's say you make a crab 1,000
Oh God.
feet tall and just
Back
drop it
to
out
the
of a plane.
lobsters. What if that's, guys? That's how they make the giant lobsters, not the nuclear weapons.
It's because the love the Bostonians give them.
There's they kidnapped the girl from the cliff. Okay, so our Lobstericane movie might have to take place in the Clifford universe.
So
I think
lobsters,
the Clifford universe needs to be in the Deli Dudes universe.
I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah,
all the same universe. This is all the GBGB's verse that we're all we're putting
So we
together.
should probably explain people once again. We should explain what exactly we're talking about.
I mean, we pitched Lobstericane in like 2 or 3 episodes now. If you guys don't know what Lobstericane is by now, you guys got to watch The Town or whichever episode we did it in.
It's our superhero movie where a band of superheroes with really terrible superpowers fight off a wave of mutated lobsters invading from the Atlantic Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
That's it.
In Miami,
sounds
of
great.
course, because Florida man.
Yeah, it makes sense. Why is the island shaped like a bone? Was there like in my head there was like this big war, like the Bone Wars or something, where something crazy happened and there's like radioactive fallout leading to all of these animals developing these abilities, and Clifford being huge and red. There's no red dogs either. Like, why is he red? Right? There's no red dogs. I have to think about this. Oh, there isn't.
Well, I was thinking, this is going back. I'm kind of ignoring your point, Denali.
Okay.
What's
new?
What happens when Emily Elizabeth grows up and wants to start a family? Don't you think she's gonna love her child as much as she loved this dog?
So big baby, really big baby, and that baby's gonna be a huge man. So there's a sequel here where it's the world's
sequel material
largest
all
man.
over it.
Anything she doesn't love her parents that much. Then
apparently not. Well,
Ryan,
no, they weren't growing.
Ryan, is Nikola Jokic from the Denver Nuggets?
Jokic, yeah.
Jokic, is he Mary Elizabeth, or is he Emily Elizabeth's child?
That dude is huge.
He didn't grow as big as Clifford though. Like Clifford's 70 feet tall, and this dude's like 7 feet tall or something. I think there's an awkwardness with Clifford's owner, because like if people find out about this ability and see how big things grow, they can get a direct correlation of how much she loves them. Like, her husband maybe like 10 feet, child's like 20 feet, Clifford's still like 80 feet. So like the child's like, what the fuck,
It has to
she has 2 kids.
Oh yeah, and one gets way bigger.
Oh shit.
And like, what if the kid's like taller by an inch and you can't tell if that's for genetic reasons or because she loves him more?
Yeah.
Shit. There's
a great drama coming from this.
This could be
nothing
like
to do with Clifford.
You could like make. I mean, like just imagine. I know, what David and the Goliath, right? The Goliath isn't that big. He's only supposed to be like 7.5 feet tall, right? But sometimes
that's it.
But sometimes they make him huge. They make him giant. And Emily Elizabeth has this power that's been historically, known back through like the Olympians age, where there are a bunch of giants somewhere, and it's just this lady who's been cursed, and she loves all her kids, and they grow up to be huge, and everyone's like, giants!
Wow.
They could be a thing going back to ancient times, yeah. I mean, they could lock her in a room and be like, love this tank. Love this tank.
No.
Okay,
you have
can't
to.
replicate.
You have to be. It has to be. I think it has to be a certain age. It's got to be over time, but it's got to be while it's growing.
You could maybe pay her a salary and be like, hey, we'll give you, $100,000 a month. You just love this tank for like 5 years, and we'll add
It's a
parts to
baby
it.
tank. But you gotta believe it's a baby.
So she's in the tank factory, and they're building it really slow, and she's developing love for it, and then it grows to be 1,000 feet tall. And they'll have her, they're like, love this bomb we're building in front of you. And
I think we have reached the logical limit.
Listen,
animate objects.
They'll save money on material costs. Now, you know how much fucking steel costs? Now you have an ability to make steel big. You could make cities tiny, like have a guy build a tiny model city, and then have her love it, and big instant city.
I think you're talking about a completely different physical process.
What are you?
You're talking about the generation. No, you're talking about the generation of matter. We're talking about like a dog getting really big by eating a lot when it's a puppy.
She loves Earth, the planet Earth, and is an environmentalist. Earth gets huge, swallows the sun.
Okay, Denali gets a separate superhero that can love inanimate objects and make them grow.
Okay, that is like I read that on Ripley's Believe It or Not, because there's a guy who like fell in love with a bicycle or something.
Oh yeah.
There was a lady who fell in love with like
a train station.
Yeah, it was like a concept, or like I love this copy of Time Cop 2, or like the concept of Time Cop 2 I'm marrying. Which I don't, I'm not going to yuck anyone's yums, like you do you. But that is, I think that's what, Emily Elizabeth could have, where she can love anything.
Yeah, that's fair. It's wrong,
Anyways,
but it's fair.
Clifford, we should probably
okay.
talk
Wait,
about Clifford.
We're on a good line here.
Okay. Yeah.
Animals in this universe should be the dominant species. They can understand humans and they can communicate to each other. Humans cannot understand animals. The animals can read and are shown to be dexterous.
Hmm.
I mean,
yeah,
they did use a hanger as a grappling hook, but like, it's
they're very intelligent to the point where they can communicate with humans too, because the circus owner, he's talking to the ferret like he's a person. The ferret's like moving his hands and shit and showing him stuff.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's almost like humans are the animals.
Yeah,
we can only talk to ourselves, and like dogs in our like the real world can only talk to each other.
But Clifford can talk to ferrets. He can talk to he can talk to other things.
Maybe it kind of caps out. Maybe like, these animals are intelligent and they can use the tools, but they're not going to be doing any chemistry or mathematical processes. So it's
like a dolphin situation where they're really smart socially.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't give a fuck about physics. And maybe that's the smarter way to live.
True.
You don't got to do math.
Let the dumb, humans take care of that and give you food.
Oh, yeah, that's literally the plot of Hitchhiker's Guide, isn't it, though? The first 2 chapters. Remember that talent show scene in this movie where, these animals are doing actually amazing tricks? Like, lifting huge weights, and then the extreme, cool surfer skater dude, like the wiener dog, does like a sick ramp trick and does a bunch of flips and explodes, and all the kids are like, oh, yawn, and they like walk out, and I'm like, are you shitting me? That was sick.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense at all when you look at it like that. Like,
yeah. Or the cow on a tightrope, like 100 feet in the air, and like a rat's like juggling on top of it. I'd be like, I would be losing my mind.
Yeah, they have. They're not impressed.
And survives. Yeah,
because they have universal health care in this universe.
Oh yeah.
I think fancy world. I think that ultimately a lot of our qualms with the logic of this movie can actually be explained when we realize that there's 2 types of kids movies, right? There's kids movies, and then there's kids movies.
Right.
This was definitely a kids movie.
Yeah.
Like I knew it I didn't realize this kind of going in. I thought it was going to be like a kids movie where you're like, oh, I sometimes watch, kids Disney movies or whatever. But literally the opening credits said a Scholastic Entertainment movie. It's like, oh.
Dude, Scholastic did the book fairs, man. Book fairs were lit as hell.
Book fairs are lit.
But like kids books.
Yeah. Like it's made for preschool age kids, as I read in the description. Which is why it has this kind of feverish, like strange quality to the lines and the logic of the movie, right?
Exactly.
And we probably can't judge it with our adult brains too well. Like this might be Citizen Kane of 3-year-old movies, and we have no idea.
I think that's where this episode is going to ultimately end up going.
I think it was pretty smart. I think as an adult watching this, if you had a kid, this would probably, if I had a child, this would probably be like a movie that I would gun for. There aren't maybe, I guess when you say the kids versus kids movie, like a lot of kids movies have, that the targeted humor towards adults, and say there are a lot of things that are over the head of children.
Yeah,
I would say,
like one
this
of the neighbors
movie
would be like, oh, how big's his balls? And then the kids wouldn't understand it, and then the adults would wink at each other.
And this Clifford's really big movie didn't have that, but it wasn't. Watching it, I was surprised that it wasn't all like really dumb. There's like a lot of emotional breadth to it that like the characters were going through, and some like enough logic that you were like, wait, what?
Yeah, and there's actually a few scenes that were very good. The scene where PT is trying to get the guy who runs the little animal show to like get out of the circus. It's an actual conversation between two adults that really makes sense.
It does.
Man, if the show, like, we have to meet certain numbers and you're not reaching those numbers, and you want 3 more weeks, but I've given you 3 years, and so I just don't see why there's a reason why I need to spend all this overhead keeping you here when you're not helping me meet my budget. It's like,
what was that doing in there? And it was kind of compelling.
Yeah,
like, it's a compelling argument. That's for us.
PT was not a bad guy.
No, he was trying to give him a chance, because he was like, all right, I'll give you this chance. I'm gonna regret it, but I know you need this bus and you need these animals. And I was like, holy fuck, like are 3-year-olds gonna pick up on this? But I think it teaches compassion and emotional intelligence, because there's another scene where the ferret, for example, is being a dick to Clifford because he's jealous. And the cow is like, oh, don't worry about him. He means well. He's just a bit insecure. And they kind of talk about that. And it's another way for 3-year-olds to look at, people who are being mean to them or something. I don't know. Like, I think there was some layers here that I didn't think would be in a movie like this.
Was not expecting it.
And I'm like reading reviews for it on its like page here, and like one of the things was like, charming and harmless, nap while your kids enjoys. And like that's kind of the vibe I get from these, where it's just like, turn it on. It's probably going to be boring for adults, but kids are going to like it.
I expected it to be way worse. I expected it to be Dora the Explorer type.
Oh.
What color is Clifford? I really did. When it said Scholastic Entertainment, I was like, oh boy.
This was
Scholastic rolled the dice on the kids.
Yeah.
They were like, you know what? We're going to take you on a narrative. We're not going to hold your hand, man. We're going to show you people with problems. Real world problems that you're going to have to deal with, kids. Sorry, Jace, go ahead.
I don't think I can follow. The one of my favorite parts was this, said it a little bit earlier, the absolutely lawful evil businessman who has a very strict code of trying to do absolutely whatever he can to make his daughter happy. So creates a binding contract to steal Clifford the big red dog after their group wins the that might not be the right way to say it, but finagles his way into getting the owner, the circus man, to sign the paper to steal Clifford. And then at the very end, his daughter goes, if he's got an owner, we got to give him back. And the guy's like, oh, well, yeah, you're right. And he rips up the contract. And he's like, y'all won fair and square. And it's what my daughter says. And it's like, he's very obviously willing to screw people over to better himself and get what his daughter wants. But it's like very strict set of ethics and code. And it was like, what the hell?
He's a psychopath businessman.
And it doesn't make sense really when you think about with any sort of adult logic. And this is kind of where the movie broke down that
agree.
whole premise in the last act. Like, that contract is hogwash, you guys.
Oh boy, here comes Ryan with his contract law. I was waiting for this. Can you not do that? Can you
Well,
not shove a paper in front of someone giving autographs and have them accidentally sign it?
Yeah,
And you're
we
like,
need to explain. Yeah, that's what happened.
Okay.
The guy thought he was signing an autograph for someone, and it was a contract. Putting your name on a piece of paper doesn't mean anything. Okay, let's be real. In fact, like, you could have the same contract and write up all the terms, and then like hold it up to the person and say, "Do you agree?" And they say, "Yes, I've read this and I agree." And you can orally say that, and it could be binding. The only difference is that there's one set of laws called the statute of frauds, and it's usually it applies to a very narrow set of things. Doesn't apply to animals, so you could have had an oral contract. It's just kind of weird. Like, it doesn't really make sense why the owner would instantly give up. Like, oh, he got me. He got me to sign that contract. The owner doesn't be like, oh, I actually didn't mean to sign that, so I'm not going to let you take the dog.
Hey, that's interesting.
A similar theme to Air Bud, where an owner, the dog is, reverse of the dog's owner wanted the dog back, but did no work to find it. In this case, Emily Elizabeth was looking for him. So as we've previously established, in any one of the states that has laws about it, she could be like, I was actively looking for the dog, which means that it's mine.
How often is dog law gonna come up? Like,
a lot.
When we watch like Homeward Bound or something, is there going to be a random court scene that we don't remember from when we were kids?
That's what I'm thinking, Ryan. Because when that scene came up, I was like, how many times are we going to get a scene where it's like, that's my dog, and then the dog like runs to
I think
a lot.
Going back even to our last seasons, there's a lot of law and legal stuff in Hollywood movies that I have no idea why. Like, does Daredevil need to be a lawyer? No. Is he? Yes. I just don't quite get it.
That's the Daredevil thing, is because, normal people can't be superheroes and a lot of people can't be lawyers. Like, all these idiots that read these comic books. It's just mean. It's to be mean.
The Daredevil lawyer thing, I think, interesting dynamic, obviously. Is he's doing something extrajudicial. Lincoln lawyer, he's a lawyer bad boy, another lawyer bad boy. Gone Girl, he should get a lawyer. There's a lot of we did do a lot of lawyers.
I think it just sneaks in there.
Are we just gonna watch like Marmaduke Dog Law if like for the next movie? Like it's just Marmaduke goes to law school.
When you think, it might be as simple as the reason that law is in a lot of movies is because it is kind of outside the regular person's kind of scope of their life, and it's automatically like a thing. You're like, I know about the law, and I know that dealing with the law can be hard and scary. So anytime law is brought up at all in a movie, whether or not it's right or not, people are like, oh, which is obviously inane bullshit to you, Ryan.
I think you have a good point. Yeah.
And just people thinking that the law doesn't make sense is a huge cause of concern, like in movies. Like, they're like, oh, I accidentally signed this piece of paper and I didn't mean to give my dog away. Therefore, you have not. Like, that literally is the answer. If you did not mean to do something, then you have not done it. Like, we've been thinking about this for hundreds of years since we've had the common law system. People think about problems and they think through them logically. They don't just grab a random line of text from a random statute and be like, well, this is it. We did not choose this law and yet we must apply it. No, either someone wrote that or we're going to just go in fresh and see what makes logical sense. And that's something that if you kind of understand that, or at least if you explain that in a movie, it would take away all the suspense and a Deus Ex Machina type situation.
Yeah.
So I understand why they do it. I just didn't realize that it was
happens so often.
happens every single movie.
Yeah.
Bit of an arcane field for people. Um,
Yeah. Will you ever
there
use
a-
the decision in Clifford in one of your cases, Ryan?
Yeah. I could be like, well, this reminds me of a movie called Clifford. Oh yeah, I've had weird stuff cited. People have like cited the movie Dirty Dancing to me.
Oh yes.
And like, yeah, seriously, like watch this clip from Dirty Dancing and you'll understand what I mean. Okay, I'll type in the URL, but I'm not gonna give it like probative weight.
That's hilarious. I was wondering like if they could use it like maybe a dog witnesses a murder, and then you put like a stack of papers and say like not guilty and guilty, and be like, let the dog choose. And then the dog will go. And they're like, I guess that's the law.
And the villain hides a treat
Oh yeah.
in one of the stacks.
But the hero hides like the favorite shirt of the owner in the other one, so he has to choose between love or lust for the treat. Nah.
That's the same thing.
Anyways,
I heard you say wait. I did some math this morning.
Oh, okay, please. Yeah, I was looking forward to this. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. My interest was piqued because of the initial scene where Horace Bleakman asks Mr. Howard, how do you get all that money to give that dog food? And I was like, how big is Clifford? And somewhere online, the first answer that pops up is a Redditor did some math and did height, weight, and estimated like about 85 to 87 tons. So 170,000 pounds, as I said earlier.
Oh my God, that's so heavy.
It's huge. It's ginormous. So that truck shouldn't have been able to pull the dog. Let's cover that right now. I looked online, did some digging, found some recommended how much food should you give a dog. And the peak that you get is 4.5 cups for a 100-pound dog. And the recommendation is an extra third cup for every 10 pounds you go up above that. So the recommended amount of food to feed Clifford in a day would be 5,657 cups of dog food.
Okay.
Which comes down to about 35 bags of dog food a day. 35, 40-pound bags of dog food.
That's a good amount.
It's a good amount. Taking into account the median price for a bag of dog food, it is approximately $1,600 a day.
Dang.
For just food.
Just for food.
That's...
Or $580,000 a year.
There we go.
To take care of this dog.
So this is kind of like the Tiger King thing, where he's like, we don't know how to feed these tigers. They eat a lot. Like, yeah, they're fucking tigers.
I didn't know.
Wow.
Is that a thing in the Tiger King?
Oh yeah, they like do a bunch of shady stuff to get meat.
Huh. Are they? Is Clifford's parents like is he like a mobster or a drug lord, and he feeds Clifford all of the victims and like rival gangs? And the guy next to him is like a DEA IRS agent trying to figure out how he affords it.
In my headcanon, the neighbor, Horace Bleakman, has been working on the Clifford case for years. And Mr. Howard,
because of the people he eats, it's the blood. $500,000 a year to feed.
Yeah, and I can't imagine that he spends more than 50% of his salary on this dog. So we're talking Mr. Howard's making something like $3 million a year, and
he has to.
I'm gonna guess that it's shady.
I think you have a point, because he has a dog that has enormous entertainment potential because everyone's trying to exploit it, yet he doesn't utilize it for that. So he clearly has an income source where he doesn't even feel the need to do that, to pursue it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Plus he's living in Bone Island, which I'm assuming is just like a really sick, like, offshore like community where it's like, for rich people, it's like a suburb.
Why does the circus go there?
I imagine San Juan Islands or like a Martha's Vineyard situation.
Oh.
Okay. Well, Jace, thanks for doing that calculation, because I was literally thinking about that. There's a scene where Clifford's like running away and he's like looking in the puddles, right? He's like hearing that conversation where he's like, oh, he eats a lot. Oh, and then like there's that scene where he shows the dad and he's like, oh, it doesn't cost that much. I did have to mortgage my house. It's like, Like, the dude's like life's in shambles trying to get. Oh man. You guys notice in the movie, like, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but like it seemed like Clifford was changing his size a lot. There'd be scenes where he's in the circus tent and he seems like he's maybe 10 feet tall, and then he's walking through the city and he's like 800 feet tall.
Yeah.
I just, it's consistency like that, is just why our school systems are failing. Speaking of animation, I thought some of the animation was kind of beautiful.
I agree.
Oh yeah, it was a good movie. I actually liked watching it.
Like the fall scenes, I was like, I felt like a peace in my soul. Like when I saw like them riding a bike with the leaves and Clifford coming out and having a good time, I was like, this is nice.
They did not so when you think about the fact that the subject matter is Clifford the big red dog, and he could occupy 50% of the screen or more, which in the animation style would just be blank red, because the dogs are just a flat tone. The backgrounds in every scene are gorgeous. And I don't know if they were reused. Yuri said that they look exactly like the books, and they didn't cop out at all. In fact, like all of the scenes that have Clifford in them and they're outdoors have beautiful landscapes in the back that you can tell
they do.
A lot of detail went into, which was kind of amazing to me. And a lot of the indoor scenes with just like one character actually ended up having a lot less detail. Like, there's a scene in Emily Elizabeth's room where it's like you can tell it looks like it was just like slapped on. But every time they're outdoors, they definitely had somebody who was a specialist, like painstakingly detailing these scenes.
Pretty cool. Great landscape artist. Yeah. And that with the really interesting soundtrack. Like, did you guys hear that soundtrack?
There's a couple topics to be had about the soundtrack.
Like the crazy genre-bending soundtrack. I mean, first of all, they probably had a custom band. Like they had bands playing like kind of pretty good pop songs about what's happening. Like they're like, going to the circus, playing I'm a big red dog. Like it was kind of catchy. I was like, damn, this shit slaps. Yeah, there was a lot of strange, like I felt like I don't know, I felt like I was in a dream. There's a lot of dream logic in this movie, just with the music and the animation.
And the transitions made no sense.
It did not.
And that's one thing that made a kids movie rather than just a kids movie, is that you can just be hanging out in the circus, practicing your backflips, and the next you're like in some other random place. And the conversation's totally switched, or like now you're in the middle of the competition. It was kind of rough in that regard.
Yeah,
but I did appreciate the runtime. Imagine
it was
this,
tight. Yeah.
Yes, 74 minutes. So imagine this as 120 minutes.
Oh my lord. There would be riots in the streets. Like this is
we would be rioting in the streets in 2021 about Clifford.
I would be swinging my underwear over my head on top of the roof of my apartment still, if this was 2 hours long. I think by the end of the movie, I was so starved for content, like for me, that like I was finding, like I was just laughing at things. Like there was a scene where like the police chief, the phone rings and he answers it with a sandwich. He's like, "Hello," and I like couldn't stop laughing. I like spit out my drink.
I had an unironic laugh tally.
Really?
And I marked down a tally every time I unironically like giggled or snorted at a joke.
Really?
Yeah.
How many tallies you got?
14.
Dang, that's pretty good in a 70-minute movie.
Pretty good.
Which I think is more than the entire Matthew McConaughey season.
In the comedies we watched.
And also, I fell asleep during the last like 10 minutes of the movie.
Oh,
I did too. I had to rewatch it today.
I got so close to falling asleep, guys, because it like lulled me to sleep.
By the
and then
end,
I stood up to finish it. Because I think with the Clifford movie, my stress level, like the amount of cortisol in my veins, like just decreased so much. And I think Clifford has some kind of weird analgesic, like, stress relieving property that we don't actually fully understand. Because I think parents, it said multiple times in reviews that parents will fall asleep watching this movie. And I think we have some untapped.
Oh, God. Here's a conspiracy theory. What if parents can't watch this movie. And in the middle of the movie, there's like a direct-to-kids messaging, like,
Oh my god.
it's in the background, like, kill them. And there's a string of unsolved murders across the U.S. and people can't the cops can't figure them out.
It's like Sinister, that movie we watched together.
Yeah.
That was fucked up. When the bar ghoul comes out. That's
Yeah.
so creepy. I'm getting creeped out. I was thinking like they'll just say like buy more at the Scholastic Book Fair, so that Scholastic
Oh,
can
I
make more
thought it would
money
be like,
instead of like kill your local elected leader.
before they wake up, send them to the long sleep.
Jesus Christ.
Read their blood,
Turn-
Clifford.
Blood is red. Clifford is red.
You would think if they had that ability, they would use it on making profits. Like, just instead of creating murders. Like, if you had mind control,
Dark Tower.
they get convinced to be murder. What?
They say, go to the Dark Tower now.
Oh, they go to the Dark Tower. That's how they get captured.
Yeah.
Let's let's wrap this movie up, man. Like, okay, at the very end of the movie, when Clifford returns to town and it's like awesome, there's like awesome montage. There's a baker who like throws Clifford a huge biscuit, and he's like, "Yeah, you're home." And Clifford like bites it and runs off, and they don't say thank you at all. And that cookie was as big as maybe a person, and it was huge. And that baker probably took him multiple days and not a cheap amount of materials to make. And he's so excited about the dog, who's like kind of the mascot of the town. He's like, "Oh, this is my big moment, yeah!" He like throws it, and the dog doesn't even say hello. Doesn't even actually look at him. Sees the treat, eats it, and just runs off. He's like, "All right." I'm so glad I spent a week making that. I just thought that was just really inconsiderate.
Huh.
I think for the runtime for this, I mean, imagine if every time Clifford interacts with a different human being in this movie, there has to be like a character background and like a resolution to that character's story.
You know, like, it's a small business. He's in a baker outfit in like a small ground level bakery. And like, he could have just said, "Thanks, Baker Bob." And they kind of run out. Even like the owner didn't even say anything. She's like riding Clifford, like, "Haha, yeah." Just high-fiving people.
That's how he affords all the food. Is that the townsfolk have been slowly, chipping in, and he's been taking advantage of all of them.
It's like a protection fee, like a fealty.
And the neighbor comes over and is like, "How do you feed that dog? Are you gonna say thanks every once in a while?"
Now, neighbor, tread lightly when you talk to me like that. It set this dog loose in an instant.
Yeah.
Bone Island's gonna turn into Full of Bones Island. Keep fucking with this family. You guys want to get into reviews?
Yeah, please. It's tradition by this point for Jace to go first.
Since this is Jace's season, I mean, he pitched the doghouse. So, Jace, do you want to start off with your woof meter or wag meter? What are we calling this?
Woofometer. I thought we landed on.
Yeah.
Woofometer. I like woofometer. Let's do that.
Woofometer. Wow. There's some pressure here. Clifford is absolutely a dog. Giant dog. We took a turn from Airbud. Clifford in universe. I'm gonna have to keep it to his universe. Great tricks, emotionally intelligent, does a lot of dog stuff. I couldn't beat him in a fight. He'd kill me.
Is that in your woofometer? Is if you could beat the dog in a fight?
What? No, it's just something to think about.
This is the one dog that you can't beat in a fight.
Airbud could probably kick my ass too. I'm gonna give Clifford the dog an 8 out of 10 on the woofometer. And I don't know why.
We have nothing to go on.
uh,
Such a dumb concept.
my side.
Why couldn't we have done Kurt Russell?
It's totally arbitrary, man. I have no metric other than how I feel, you know?
Man.
8.
8 wolves.
8 woofs. Okay. It's fair. I'm gonna try to think about this because I'm still forming my woofometer. As Jay said, Clifford is indeed a dog. Fictional one, though. He's not a fair representation of dogs in our world. He's kind of an idealized version where he's large, you can make tons of money off of him, and he's hyper intelligent. So it does prominently feature him in almost every scene, but there's a lot of scenes. There's some scenes without him though, because like there's the scenes with the ferret. He's like talking about money and shit with the circus people, and it doesn't seem like Clifford is like the his character doesn't seem like a motivating force in the movie. Like it seems like Ferret's kind of driving a lot of the plot, and Clifford's kind of along for the ride. It's really I'm trying to objectively measure my dog meter here. I think, you know what, I'm gonna go with my gut feeling. Okay, I'm gonna go with my gut feeling on this. I'm gonna give it 7 because it's a movie about a dog. If you like dogs, you'll like this movie, and it has Clifford in it. Takeaways: the reason why it's not a 10. There we go. This is why it's not a 10. Is because it has too much of the ferret, who's not a dog, and too much humans talking. And I don't think maybe it's because it's a cartoon. I don't think it's like it's not as dog-ish as like Air Bud, you know, where you have a real dog. That's why it's a 7. 7 for me. Ryan, take it away.
Okay, I'm gonna go off that. I think that along the same lines, but I'm gonna maybe come to a different conclusion. I think that this movie had Clifford in it more of the time than Air Bud was an Air Bud. But the time that Air Bud was an Air Bud, I was like, oh my god, that is a dog. When I'm watching Clifford, he could have been a cat, or he could have been a different animal, and I don't think the plot would have been all that much different, right?
Yeah.
So I think in that way, I'm going to give it a lower score because he's so much different than a normal dog that this almost isn't like a dog movie. It's about a giant animal movie. Like the premise is that he's hard to feed because he's a giant animal, not because he's a dog, right? Like zoos have this problem, but dog owners don't. So I think it was less of a dog movie, and also it was animated. It was awesome seeing like a physical dog. I understand that many dog movies are animated, but I think I'm gonna have to go with a 5.
Okay.
Partially cut down for volume, partially cut down because it wasn't all that doggy, and partially like when Clifford was on the screen, often I wasn't looking at Clifford. Clifford wasn't doing a lot of stuff. It was all the other guys doing backflips. If you notice, Clifford's biggest act in the dog show was catching the other animals who were actually doing the tricks.
That's true.
So this is what he's not even as cool as Air Bud.
He was a supporter.
Yeah.
Like emotionally, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think I said 5. That's a word that came out of my mouth. Sure, let's go with that.
I think you bring up a good point, and it was a point that I actually couldn't think of why I felt this way, but yeah, like you could have replaced it with like a parrot. It's like, that's a big parrot. How do you feed that thing? And it wasn't like a dog. Like he didn't like, are there dog things he could have done to make it like chase his tail, take Big Dookie?
He woofed a lot.
And be like, oh. What?
Yeah, there wasn't much barking.
And the wolves were really weird. Compared to the sounds from every other portion of the movie, the barks were like, woof, woof, woof.
I think it was John Ritter who is the actor, like actually woofing like a dog.
Respect, man. He inhabited the role. There was, because the movie's rated G, right? And it's rated G for violence, which I thought was hilarious. They said that in the beginning of the movie. Could there be like a PG or PG-13 movie, like you guys said, with a live action even, that's coming out soon? Maybe where they have one dookie scene. One big red dookie that neighbor steps in.
Yeah, you get one F-bomb in a PG-13 movie.
Oh fuck! I stepped in this fucking piece of giant shit. Oh, I fucking hate having him as my neighbor. Those pieces of shit. And that's kind of the only reason. Everything else is. Could there be a could there be like a gritty reboot of Clifford where he cusses and does drugs and sometimes kills?
Yeah, like the weird deleted scene from Air Bud
Yeah,
from the
where
director's cut.
he sometimes kills when he has to. You know, where he's like, maybe a superhero, like saving the day.
Like those cops at the end of the movie.
They
He
do at
just
the end of the
squishes
movie?
one, right?
Wait, what?
And,
What?
no, this is hypothetical. And
Wait, oh, okay. I was like, yeah, I remember this. I remember those cops the other movie.
I mentioned Clifford.
Okay.
You know, there's like 20 cops like bearing down,
Yeah.
which is really kind of a weird section of the movie. But like, imagine he just squishes one like a steamroller going
Oh.
over someone, and
Like
it's like,
accidentally.
no, on purpose,
Oh,
and
oh,
looks
okay.
and stares at them and is like, "You're next."
Oh,
If
and
you
he's
don't
like,
let me
whoa,
go.
whoa, whoa, whoa. But he
Yeah.
can point because
I was thinking like if Clifford accidentally like steps on a car and then like it leads to like a big like meeting in Congress where it's called like the Clifford Accords. And they're talking about like should he live on an island by himself away from the public. Oh, that's the plot of the movie. He's on Bone Island by himself with a bunch of people who signed agreements where it's they can't sue. He gets smushes.
Or it's like the Truman Show.
Yeah, and that's
They
why.
have cameras set up all around the island, and there's a TV show about Clifford.
Oh yeah. You
That
guys
would
want to
actually
get it?
work because then you don't have to trick the dog. It's just a dog. Doesn't know what TVs are.
You guys want to get into our movie reviews? You guys want to review this movie?
Sure.
Sure.
Faces first.
Yeah. I started laughing uncontrollably about 10 minutes in because I realized that how much I was enjoying this movie means that I'm a giant man child. I thought that was hilarious. Also, I was high as balls. So
There it is. There it is.
I think that I think there were some issues with it, and I'll talk maybe to those first. In the final act, when you introduce the cruddy businessman and his daughter and the stealing of Clifford, I think they were just maybe throwing darts at a wall. Like there could have been a more relatable and better ending movie that would have been feel good for children instead of businessman steals dog, and the movie's so short that it kind of is just a weird ending, in that he tears up the fake non-legally binding contract. Oh, you can have your dog back, haha. I think that was like the biggest thing that got to me artistically, like from a visual standpoint. I thought the movie was pretty good. I liked how they did the characters and the characters to the background. Thought the backgrounds were beautiful. I thought the stunts were hilarious. As far as like enjoyment from watching a cartoon, I think we all grew up probably watching the Looney Tunes a bit, and there was a lot of Acme-esque humor in this movie, like all throughout it. So if you're an adult and you watch this, it's kind of relatable to cartoons that you watched when you were a kid, and that pumps it up. So I loved when they did the heist scene and they listed off everything. Like he was like, can't even remember the joke. He says, do you have the movement device or some shit? And they hold up the unicycle. It's like, and he's like grappling hook. And you don't know if there's actually going to be a grappling hook, and the dog picks up a hanger. He's got a hanger, and I laughed at that. They had a lot of jokes that hit for me. I think when you compare it to I'm not gonna watch it again. When you compare it to some other movies, it's probably above average for me. I probably enjoyed this more than quite a few other movies we watched. I'm gonna give it a 7. And then I'm gonna give it with the stipulation that if I had a child, I'd probably give this movie a 10. I'd rather watch this movie if I was using it as a method to keep a child happy. I would recommend people put this on because it's not stupid lowbrow, just like a kid movie. There are some jokes that hit. There are some jokes that come out of nowhere that are like sideways that you have to. That are like, oh wow, they put some thought into it. So I think they did good, and it did great. $70,000 budget, and they made $3.3 million. The movie did all right. So 7 for me on the movie meter, just because again we're watching a kids movie, but it was enjoyable. And then like I'm gonna tell my friend with a kid to watch this once his kid is like 3.
Yeah.
I think that was a very fair review, Jace. I'm struggling with a similar dilemma where like is this a really good movie if I was 3? Like if I could put my mindset temporarily into that of a 3-year-old, maybe take a psychoactive drug and put myself in the brain of a toddler, would I think this is if I was 3, would I think if this was a really compelling movie? As an adult watching it, there were things I could appreciate. I thought the writing was good for a movie with preschoolers in it. I think it taught some nice lessons that maybe weren't like too toxic or too like memey in a way that I think that some movies try to go. The animation was beautiful. The soundtrack was kind of fun. There was some fun scenes, but this is the issue. As an adult watching this movie, I don't have kids or anything, so I don't normally watch movies like this. I was like, oh my god! Like as soon as I turned it on, as soon as I saw like the opening scene, I was like, oh god, this is a movie for like tiny children, not even like a Pixar movie. This is like for really young children who don't have developed brains. Like, like the way people pause after each line and then the next line starts. Like there was just these, it kind of felt jilted and unorganic. But that's probably good for preschool age kids. So with that in consideration, for me, just for my own enjoyment, I'm going to put it down the middle. I didn't dislike this movie, but I didn't necessarily like it. I was kind of falling asleep. 5, a light 5.
Light 5.
Like what Jay said, if I was a parent or a 3-year-old, this is a fucking 10.
It's a banger.
It's a banger. this might be the Citizen Kane of 3-year-old movies. I could say nothing bad about it. I think kids will love it. I would have loved it because I used to read Clifford growing up. I think this was a great adaptation. 3-year-old 10, adult Denali 5. So,
I think I really do agree with you guys. I remember doing my Airbud scale, and I remember saying, I don't know how good dog movies can be.
Right.
So I'm gonna maybe edit my scale a little bit. Like I'm gonna leave room at the top end for obviously if we get this like out of nowhere star of the movie. But to me, this movie was pretty good. It was better than the stupid comedies we watched from the actual real adult actors. It was better than Surviving Christmas. It was better.
That's big coming from you, right? I thought you really liked Surviving Christmas.
I did. It was. I would rather rewatch this than to watch Surviving Christmas. I would.
Oh my god! Okay, that's pretty good.
Rewatch this than watch almost any Matthew McConaughey movie, especially the ones that tried to be funny. Like, geez, Louise.
Not Sahara.
It's on that level just because of the length, right? Like, if I was forced to watch one of these again, I probably would say Clifford over Sahara, just because Sahara is twice as long.
So if you're forced to watch a movie, you're thinking of purely of just quantity of time, not necessarily enjoyment of time.
Well, if someone is like, okay, Ryan, you need to get on with your day, but before you get on with your day, you have to watch one of these 2 movies. I'm choosing Clifford.
Yeah, that's fair.
You'll save like a half hour. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I laughed a lot, and I think the biggest down for me is the end of the movie was unsatisfactory. I'm gonna pitch an ending. Like, what if? Instead of he was dog napped, what if the government came in and was like, hey, this dog is destroying people's houses and is trampling all over the neighbors and peeing and killing trees and all this kind of stuff. Like, we have to step in. We're going to take this dog away. And the community shows up to the courtroom, because we're going to get another courtroom scene in every movie, apparently. And the community shows up to the courtroom like an Airbud and is like, no, we love the dog. I don't care that my fence is broken. I don't care that he eats treats without one iota of respect paid to me as a human being. We want him in our community. We love Clifford. And the court's like, well, who can argue with that? Smack the gavel. Like, I think in that way it would have been a nice emotional resolution. And so that's honestly, I can't believe I'm saying it, but that's my biggest qualm with this movie.
Wanted a big courtroom scene.
I wanted the big courtroom scene.
He wanted somebody to be like
kaiju-esque, like there's Godzilla fins rising out of the water and like against the setting sun on the horizon, and we're like dun, dun, dun. And then it goes boom boom summer boom boom 2022.
I did.
Yeah,
they did have a little bit of a kaiju scene with Clifford.
Yeah, coming out of the ocean, right?
Yeah. The fishermen fall over in a funny way because they like jump in each other's arms. And they're like, whoa, and they fall back when Clifford comes out of the water.
So I'm gonna go ahead. It's not as good as Air Bud.
Mm-hmm. Let's put that out there.
Right. Unfortunately, I think it's better and worse than Air Bud at the same time in different ways. I'm gonna go ahead and do a 7 as well, and I think that's totally fair. And I'm not gonna think about it very much. I'm not gonna lose sleep over that.
Yeah.
The issue is, and that's a solid score. We're leaving room at the top. The issue is like we saw the greatest dog actor and athlete of all time perform in Air Bud.
The 1-2 punch of dogs.
Yeah. I can't think of any other dog actor I know besides maybe the dog from Lassie, but he's like a classical actor, and so like it's hard to measure up against that, But with that, you guys want to pick our next dog movie? Do you want to actually pick it? Because boy, oh boy, guys, I think I want to actually have some autonomy here.
We need to do the wheel.
I've got the wheel open.
Guys, I can't do another kids movie.
Do we want to add any movies to the list or take any off?
Okay, I wanted to see Cujo, man. I wanted to see like a good, fun for adults dog movie.
So let's take some shitty dog movies off the wheel.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Can we do that, Jace? Can you screen share and let us look at the wheel? All right, audio listeners, we're looking at the clicker wheel that we use to pick shit. Guys, okay, I'm gonna say this right now. I can't fucking watch Air Buddies next week. Okay, yeah. I can't do it. All right, we have to do
an adult movie, a movie for adults.
One movie, and then I can watch Air Bud again. I can watch Air Buddies after one adult movie.
Okay, so someone write these down so that we have a list of all the dog movies we want to do.
Fudge, man.
Oh, this is the list.
Well, I know, but if we edit this list,
I still have the list.
Okay. How about this? Each one of us gets one veto right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's a game. Okay. Each one gets one veto.
And if we double up, we only remove that movie once.
Oh, we get one veto to remove a movie.
Oh, okay. From the list. So if we get like Air Buddies 4 times, then we have to watch
remove Air Buddies.
Okay.
Am I spinning the wheel, or are we?
Oh, yeah. I thought we spin, and then if it gets to a movie one of us doesn't like, we can veto it.
Oh, I was thinking just right now, each one of us chooses one movie.
Oh, okay.
To take off the list.
Guys, okay. You know what? Yeah, let's do that. A
lot of these are kids' movies.
So many kids' movies. Can we throw in just some normal dog movies, man?
There aren't.
Not dog movies
there
made
are
for
none.
5-year-olds. Dude, there's fucking Togo, A Dog's Purpose, Call of the Wild. Like there's some shit in here at least.
Okay. Who wants to veto first? Let's not do the whole secret thing. Who wants to veto first?
But White Fang in here. I'll veto first. For just this episode, this next episode, that's it, okay? Air Buddies. Watch it later.
Air Buddies or Space Buddies? Because that's not even an option, man.
Okay. Veto Space Buddies. No. Yes. Ryan or Jace?
I don't have anything to veto.
Oh, wow.
I'm throwing my veto out the window.
Damn it, Jace.
Can you scroll down, please, Jace? Oh, no.
Dude,
I don't want to veto Beverly Hills Chihuahua, but I also don't want to watch it.
No, we gotta watch Lady and the Tramp or fucking Snow Dogs. Jesus, man. Can we just... there is a lot of like redneck Alaska dog movies. Can we throw some of those in there? Like,
no.
I don't think we should add to the list at all.
I'm going to veto
This can't just be our list though, because there's a lot of really popular dog movies that aren't on here.
I'm gonna veto Beverly Hills.
There are a
Chihuahua.
lot of popular Matthew McConaughey movies that we didn't pick and we didn't watch.
Well,
and we set a list of stinkers in our State of the Podcast. What's the point of having the picker wheel if we're just gonna add new movies to it every week?
I thought we were using the picker wheel if we were indecisive.
Oh, I thought we were using the whole season. We veto Beverly Hills Chihuahua for me, please. I do not want to watch that movie. I'll watch a different Airbud. I don't give a shit.
Okay, guys, we can't even see Cats and Dogs 2: Revenge of Kitty Galore, which
Hey, vetoing the
Okay.
crappy movies we don't want to watch is a good compromise.
It is, because
This other
in
dog
in
movie
2
I wanna
fucking
see.
weeks, you're gonna be like, I don't want to watch Cats versus Dogs anymore, and I put it on the list. So fuck you.
I just feel like we should open up our options because I'm thinking of our audience, man.
Okay, what if
Fuck it.
every week
Fuck it.
we get rid of 3 and we add 3 new ones? Or is that too much?
Is it permanent? Is it permanent that we're getting rid of these? Because I do want to watch
them
Space
back
Puppies
the next
eventually.
week.
Oh
If
man,
you-
it's too much of a system, man.
If you disagree with someone's veto, there's no disagreeing with vetoes. So if you disagree with someone, you have to spend your ad back to add the movie back in.
What are we, fucking Congress, man?
You're the one that wants to make rules about adding stuff in. I'm just the one saying an actual feasible way to implement the rules.
I have altered the deal. Pray that I do not alter it further.
DMCA'd.
Okay. Can we spin this freaking wheel?
Okay, did you? All right, guys. How are we spin? What's the system though? Is it one spin and that's our movie?
That's
We're
what we
doing
did
3
last
spins
week.
for drama.
I think one spin is more dramatic.
That's true because there's 13 inputs on here. If we just
Yeah.
Oh God, guys. Okay. 1 spin, and that's gonna be our movie of the wheel. Oh man, there's so many bad movies that oh Jesus. Okay.
Oh,
here
there
we
we go.
Oh my God. Oh no. No dogs.
Okay, audience. It is tune in next week for Snow Dogs when we're hitting the trail in our hometown of misspelled somewhere in Alaska.
I never wanted to watch Snow Dogs again after I saw it when I was like 6. I was like, this movie was so bad. Oh my God, I gotta watch fucking
I do
Snow
not
Dogs.
disagree that I want to watch a good. Oh, like we did kind of watch a.
I want to watch Cujo, man. This
I
is
really wanna
bullshit.
watch Cujo.
Okay, well then,
Okay.
I like the suspense because odds are that Cujo has a very good chance of being picked, especially if you choose not to add other movies in.
I'm gonna start smoking because of this podcast. Okay, you know what? No, this is fine. This is fine. This is great. We pulled the trigger on. We knew this could happen if we voted a dog season. Well, with that, join us next week with who's the actor in Snow Dogs? He's pretty famous.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Cuba Gooding Jr. with his very good dogs, who talk according to the trailer. In Snow Dogs.
And they're real dogs.
They are dogs. Okay, yeah, join us next week for Snow Dogs. Please help us. We're only 3 episodes in. In the doghouse. I am just begging to get out of here.
You know, I want to point out the pattern. The first 2 seasons, our third movie was always the best movie.
Seen Snow Dogs though, dude. Like I know it's not good.
We had Gone Girl in season 1, and we had Interstellar in
Shit.
season 2, Snow Dogs in season 3.
You're right. We should watch Cujo.
Was Clifford our Gone Girl?
No, Clifford's our Surviving Christmas or our paycheck.
It was our Armageddon or our Gogpy.
Oh, you're right. So
Well, I mean,
so
in number.
number wise.
I think the
That does
fact that
not
we've
bode
all
well.
seen Snow Dogs. Who the fuck put it on the list?
No.
You know what, Ryan? I love it.
Okay,
Finale. I'm sorry.
that's okay, man. Great. Well, thanks so much for joining us this week, folks. If you didn't watch along with Clifford, I hope this maybe convinces you to maybe give it a look. It's free on Amazon Prime right now. Give us a follow on Twitter. We are at GBGB Podcast. Give us a follow on our Instagram, Good Boys Gone Bland. And of course, throw us a review if you haven't already. Throw us a subscribe. And recommend us to somebody. Let's see here. We had you guys recommend it to your boss, your office rival. Who should they recommend it to this week?
Their neighbor?
Didn't we already do neighbor?
Ooh,
We already did next door neighbor. Do that anyways. Maybe your other neighbor next door.
Yeah. Or your pastor.
What about your text door neighbor? Send a text message to someone with a number 1 off of yours.
Oh yeah, they love that. People love that. Be like, hey, check out this podcast. That'd be good. Jace, I like pastor. Tell your cool youth pastor to check out.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're losing it, folks.
We're losing it. I'm losing my mind. This is great though. This is why we formed the podcast. Is we're gonna marathon things until we either learn
Die.
to love. We're marathoning until we lose our minds, or learn to love the actor as Ben Affleck. I'm still not quite sure if I actually loved Ben Affleck, or if it's because my brain coped with having him there so much that I
No,
for him in
you
movies.
did love him because I didn't fall in love with Matthew McConaughey,
Oh right.
but I did with Ben. So
Yeah.
I didn't fall in love with. We talked about this in State of the Podcast episode. I didn't fall in love with Matthew McConaughey, but there is a lingering comfort that Matthew McConaughey now lends me.
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And when I think about him, there's a positive emotion that comes up, and I have a constant McConaughey voice in my head guiding me through life. So I think that's something. And maybe at the end of this season,
Woof.
we're gonna turn into dogs, or maybe we'll love dogs. I already like dogs though.
Our
Check
furry
out-
fans will be very excited.
Check out episode 10 where Ryan wears the dog furry suit that I buy for him.
We're gonna start wearing those. You remember those like shirts where it has like the dogs who are like doing cool stuff? Where it's like is it the big dog shirts where they're like smoking a joint and like riding a
they're talking
BMX bike?
They're talking about 3 Wolf Moon.
Oh, there's
Ooh.
there's those, but we're gonna become one of those people with dog shirts. Anyways, join us next week for Good Boys Gone Bland, Season 3, Episode 3. No dogs. Woof, woof.
Woof. A woof.
Are you woofing over there? Are you woofing?
Woof.
Shut up!